Hello everyone, I have another what if today, and this one was also suggested by someone like Midoriya and Bakugo being brothers, and this one was suggested by Idiostace Peloid. This what if you didn't read the title, is what if the hero killer Stain was Midoriya's dad. Now, let's get into the what if. At a young age, Midoriya's mom died, and no, Stain didn't do it. She was killed in an alleyway when some thieves were trying to mug her. Although Stain wouldn't be a bad father, he'd be a good father. Although he'd still be a killer, and I'll get into that in a second. So, for those who don't know, in the spin-off series Vigilantes, which is actually canon in a prequel, Stain is a villain killer. Although, after he stopped from killing by the Vigilantes, he realizes that the Hero Society is a sham. There's such great potential in people that aren't given the chance to be heroes, and there's heroes that don't deserve to be heroes. He then leaves with a broken nose. That's also how he lost his nose. Now, let's officially get into the story. He would get home and baby Midoriya would ask what happened, and Stain would joke around saying that he lost his nose getting attacked, but he won the battle in the end. Baby Midoriya would then laugh. Stain is going to become the hero killer Stain, but in this, no one knows what he looks like. Starting then, Stain would start to make comments on what he thinks of heroes, but what a great hero All Might is. His ideas start to rub off on Midoriya, but only his ideas, and not his actions. Midoriya still wants to be a hero, and would still watch the All Might video. Stain would be perfectly happy with this, because he doesn't want to ruin his son's dreams. Although, the day would come when Midoriya announced he's quirkless. Midoriya would be devastated as usual, but Stain wouldn't say sorry like Midoriya's mom though. He'd say something different. Izuku, do you truly want to be a hero?
What? Of course I do, but I can't. I don't have a quirk.
So what? Who cares if you don't have a quirk? You can do anything if you go for it, so you shouldn't be here crying. You should be trained to be the hero you want to be. And guess what? I'm gonna train you. Izuku would then start to cry as he hugs his dad. Midoriya would start to train with Stain, and still go through his normal life of dealing Bakugo, but Bakugo would just hate that he's strong without a quirk. We're now going to go to Midoriya, we're in middle school, where he still trains and still needs to deal with Bakugo. After recovering his book, he'd start to walk home and would get attacked by a sledge villain. He'd struggle a lot more than in the original series, so when All Might saves him, he'd just be out of breath and not knocked out. Then, the same thing would happen, with him being told that he can't be a hero after, jumping on him. Although this time, when All Might leaves, Midoriya just shakes it off, remembering what his dad had said, and still thinks he could do it. Then, when walking around, he'd see Bakugo being attacked, and the same thing would happen, with Midoriya's body moving on its own. But this time, he'd grab a piece of rubble and start hitting the villain with it. He tried grabbing the rubble because remember, Stain trained him, and since Stain uses weapons, he'd train Midoriya how to use weapons. So in this way, Midoriya would learn how to use makeshift weapons. He'd still do little to no effect. The same stuff would happen then, with All Might saving him. Midoriya on his walk home, Bakugo would walk up to him, but this time he'd struggle, but say thank you, and that he doesn't give him enough credit, and says he still hates him though. Then he'd walk off, and All Might would then show up, going through his speech about how he can be a hero. Midoriya would accept his offer. He'd then go home with a smile, but wouldn't tell his dad because he didn't ask All Might if he could. He'd then start to train with All Might for part of the day and Stain for the rest. Since he'd also already has training, he'd finish All Might's training much sooner and would start to train with All Might, figuring out how to use One for All, so that he wouldn't destroy his body. Then one day, Midoriya would ask All Might if he could tell Stain about all of this, saying that he's the true reason he's there right now. All Might would think for a minute and then allow it, but only allow it that far. Midoriya would then rush home after some training, but he would get back late. He'd come back and Stain would ask where he was. Midoriya would then say that he hasn't been fully honest, and says that through the first part of the day he would actually be training with All Might, and All Might actually gave him his quirk. Stan would freeze for a second, but before realizing from Midoriya's face that he wasn't lying, and would run up to him and hug him. He'd congratulate him and take him out to eat his favorite food. Midoriya, after finishing with All Might, would ask if his dad could actually meet him, and All Might said sure. The next day, Midoriya tells Stain to close his eyes as he leads him to All Might, and Stain freaks out and freezes when he sees All Might. He then asks for a bunch of questions, including his autograph, and say it was an honor meeting him. We're now going to skip ahead to the entrance exam, where Stan wishes Midoriya good luck. Midoriya starts to walk, but then trips, but he gets caught by a girl who says she thought it'd be okay if she saved him with her quirk. Midoriya thanks her before she walks away, and she says no problem. Midoriya sits down and hears about what will happen during the test, and then gets ready and goes to the city he was assigned. The test starts, and Midoriya starts off fairly well, destroying robots. He gathers a lot of points, although eventually he sees that the zero-pointer has started roaming around and decides to run away, but then sees the girl that saved him before. She's stuck under rubble, and the robot is able to step on her. His body would start to move on its own, just like with Bakugo. He starts running and jumps off a wall and pushes himself off it, aimed directly at the robot's head, and uses a small percent of One for All. This would destroy the robot's head so that it can't work anymore. He then would fall down, but would use his maneuver skills and One for All to land safely. He'd then help lift the rubble off the girl and ask if she's okay. She'd say yes, and the exam would end. He'd go home and tell his dad that he think he did very well. Midoriya and Stan would wait to see when the letter would come. The second they found it in their mailbox, they teared it open, and it was All Might saying that he made it into UA. Midoriya and his dad would freak out and be so happy. And that's where I'm going to end it today. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Don't forget to like and subscribe, unless you're not into that stuff. And that's pretty much it. Peace out.